So you mentioned Instagram.
Mhm.
Joe's Instagram is like one of the most tasteful accounts that I follow. It's very like
Oh, wow.
intentional and it looks aesthetically pleasing. It has a certain like what do you call it? Certain composition to the photos
Hmm.
and the colors. And you mentioned like the last time we were together, you mentioned something that was really interesting. And while everybody wants their accounts to have a lot of followers, what
Yeah.
you said you're doing is you're kind of what is it? Pillaging? No,
Purging.
purging. You're purging followers.
Yeah.
So you're
Yeah.
you're you're becoming more exclusive into who you let into your life or is
Yeah.
able to see your life and what you're doing. Can you elaborate more on that for listeners and viewers?
Yeah. Happy to. And first, thank you. I appreciate that. I've definitely come a long way. And I'm sure everyone could do this too. If you look back to the start of Instagram, everyone's using these like really cheesy filters with like overexposure and these like oblique angles and like just like cliche Instagram 101. Um, and yeah, I just archived those. So I still have them and I still go
Okay.
back and look at them all the time, but not to like my public profile. Um, yeah, I'd say the past like few years, I've tried to, and it's interesting. I feel like I'm always talking about like analog life versus digital life, and in my like real analog physical life, I've uh, I think it was like 2014 or 15. I think we were still living together, Rich, on Byron. I read Mori Kondo's life changing magic, tidying up, whatever that book is.
Okay.
And she talks about yeah, basically kind of purging your life's material possessions and only holding on to those things that bring you joy.
Mm.
And so using that as just like a very simple um, framework, I've tried to apply that to my digital life as well. And one of the first places I wanted to do that is my social media accounts, and um, especially like LinkedIn is a great example. Like
Mm.
when that platform was like coming out, and you're like a young professional trying to like figure out what you're doing, and you just like linked in with like these random people, um, and you haven't spoken to them in like 5+ years, like you probably don't need to be connected to them on LinkedIn, right? So just like if you haven't spoken to them in like multiple years, or if you have a closet full of clothes and you haven't worn that in a year or two, chances are you
Mm.
probably don't need to have that item in your closet. Same thing, chances are you don't need to be connected to that person on LinkedIn. And just because it's not taking up physical space, you can see the physical changes in your closet, in your home. You can, it still feels good like to unfollow people on LinkedIn, Instagram, Twitter, whatever, and just kind of do a little spring cleaning, do some tidying up.
Okay.
Um, and it's been great. And I've been doing that every now and again. And I come to find myself just on random nights scrolling through Instagram and seeing who am I following and who's following me, and do I really want to interact with this person's content? Is it bringing me value? If not, then I'll unfollow them, or I'll choose for them to unfollow me. And I turn to a private account just because, again, like I just like want to know the people um, who I'm following, and who are following me. And also I feel like that's also my personality. Like I know by this point, I'm like 32 years old, like I am an introvert at heart, and just being wide open digitally just like doesn't really match my personality. And
Yeah.
so that's, I feel like I'm getting closer to who I really am in the real world on my like digital profiles. And so it's been a little bit of soul searching, and trying to better showcase who I am in the real world on the digital world, which I obviously don't think I do very well at all, because my like Instagram feed, as you alluded to, is like super curated and like very artsy and fartsy. But if you get to know me, you know that I'm, very casual, very laid back. I'm always joking around. never really take things too seriously. But if you were to see my Instagram profile, you would think the exact opposite. So, but I also don't think Instagram is like the best way to showcase that. Anyway, um, yeah, I just love the idea of a spring cleaning and applying that digitally and doing a digital spring clean, and just being a bit more thoughtful as to who you're following, who's following you, is it bringing value? And I know there are a lot of people out there who have befriended strangers on the internet and have built fruitful and long lasting relationships. But if I'm not going to do that in the real world, doing it online, I'm just not going to do that either. I'm just, again, if I'm at a party by myself, it's hard for me to walk up to people and introduce myself. And I'm probably not going to do that in a digital realm either. So, yeah, it's been a shift for the past few years, but I really liked it. It's been a fun exercise, and yeah, I encourage all the readers, all the listeners to do a little digital spring cleaning themselves and see what happens.
Yeah.